What up, pilots? I gotta say, I am recording this at like 12 o'clock at night my time, but it was worth it. We finally did it. All the grinding, all the testing. We bagged our first new type challenge. Although it might be during one that I didn't really care for the prize cards, nonetheless, here we are standing at the top of the mountaintop, 5-0 with a brand new deck. No more Epion, no more willy dilly stuff right now. We're locked in on what I believe is definitely a heavy contender for one of the best decks in the format. And yes, that's even with Blurple. So I'm not gonna hold you. Let's go ahead and get into it. I want to go over my matchups real quick, and then we'll go over the deck. Round one was Wing. Um, we just played out Wing. Wing's been around since GDO one, so if you don't know how to play around it, I don't know what to tell you. But keep putting out force impulses and let the wings come down where they need to, and then trade with them since you get pretty big with Asuka's effect. Um, so that was round one. Round two was Clan. It was a really good match, but my opponent also only saw like two pilots and still was a threat. The guy was a very good player. He tried to play himself out of the box, and unfortunately for him, he couldn't get there in time enough, and we secured the dub. Round three was Cruise Control, and a teammate of mine plays the deck, so I have some good matchup and experience against it. So we just walled up, put out our forces, and then they went for double strike. Couldn't secure the game. We had overwhelming presence, secured the bag. Round four was against the infamous Blurple. I drained out their resources. I kept playing things that they wanted to ping, and then eventually they ran out of pings, and we run Force Impulse. Spoiler alert. So Fatal Strike on legs. So yeah, that did really well. And then last, round five was a player playing a deck that I was starting to believe in and wanted to run myself, which was Lupus Mill Control. So it's like white, purple, also just like our deck, but Lupus on the top end. And the guy ran four Lupuses, saw two in live, saw none in hand, and we actually got it in time in the round and times up like on turns, and it came down to deck count. And because he was playing Zayhart, he had less cards in his deck, and therefore I got the dub. We don't really mill here, and even the little bit that we do is very controlled. And he played two Zayharts and then had, Barbados first form. So he was drawing significantly more than us, even in white. But yeah, so we got the dub. So let's go over the deck list real quick and let you guys get on your way. Well, you know what the deck is already from spoiler. So yes, we are playing purple white impulse control. That's what I like to call it, right? And the namesake, you gotta run for this bad boy. Oh my god, did this card put in so much work today. It being able to trade with weenies and then cycle itself out for a sword impulse and blow up another body is such a good line. It's so good, guys. Do not undervalue this card. And a lot of people I've seen just immediately try and put this card out and then immediately use this effect. No, it's a body. It can do damage. At least in the early game, you can crack the EX base and then cycle it out for a blast impulse or a force impulse or any one of your sword strike. So this card, you want to see this card. You don't want to use this effect all the time. Sometimes you just want to set up for late game and then cycle this out with Force Impulse, and then the game just becomes unwinnable for your opponent because they run out of units, and fortunately, we don't. We really don't. And then follow that up with the best blocker in the game, And this allows us to choose when we want to have things die. Sometimes I took damage to the face and didn't care and did really good trade outs and then protected the big things that I resurrected from impulse. So this is a nice early game 1-2 punch. A lot of people will tell you that this deck cannot be ran without the weenies. You know the guys, these guys. You don't need them. You don't need the weenies. Please trust me. Even in a Blurple rush down meta, if you're playing a tempo game, you'll outlast Blurple. Even with them playing Show of Resolve and all that, like you technically have more units than anybody in the game, which we do clock 28. But being able to recur bodies at specific times is just insurmountable. You just can't produce enough to continuously make sure that we don't have a board. And because of our number curve, we get to play at least 2 units a turn after certain turns. Like turn 5, you start being able to play 3s and 2s. I only got to go second one time the entire night. I actually was put on first and didn't mind at all. So that says something about the deck. Another piece of control. You can't run white and in a Blurple meta without the Swordy Boy. This definitely came in handy a couple of times throughout the night. Was it the MVP? Far from it. But did it put in work when it needed to? You're absolutely right. And in conjunction function right here. Oh my God. This being a 4-2 at one point was frowned upon. But in this meta, I love it being a 4-2. Chaos, why would you love it? People blow it up. Exactly. Please blow it up. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to bring it back and I'm going to punish you for it. And people blew this up all night. Blurple, Mikazuki, Adept, combo, clear this body. Like, no one cares. No one cares. Kill it. Use all of your kill stuff on this and not this or one of my other fragile units. And you want to kill this, right? Because it's 4-2. This contended and killed so many things on just raw summon. Not to mention it links with both the pilots that we run. They're both coordinators. So this was never dead, ever. Summon it, blow it up. All right, cool. One less ping damage. Summon it, attack into something, kill it. All right, cool. It goes to the graveyard. I'm going to get it back. Or the Fatal Strike that it is on legs. Card definitely shined today. We thought this was one of the weak links. This card is so strong. This card is so strong being 4. Being 4 is just crazy. Like, yeah, the two health is whatever. But, like, being 4 and being a card that you can just continually resurrect and it takes somebody when it comes out of the grave is phenomenal tempo. That's our 4s. All right. This is going to be really controversial on the 5s. A lot of people cut this card to 2. I think that's not good. I'm not going to say stupid. That's mean. But I don't think that's good. Run 4 of this card. You might can go down to 3 when we get Destiny Gundam out of GDO 4. But right now, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the MVP of the deck. This being 5 AP on this body that wants to die and recur your stuff is crazy. And that's why I said earlier, let your Impulse Gundams die. Don't immediately tutor out this card. Let them die, because eventually you get to use this to get it back from the grave. And then when this dies, because your opponent wants to remove it, or you can use it to slam into stuff that's inconvenient, once it dies, it gets your impulse back from the graveyard, and you do this song and dance at least one more time per pairing. Like, and it's crazy. And of course, we're in white, so you know what we got to do. That boy Kira got all the control tools, hence why I named the deck Impulse Control. There's nothing I need to say about this card, right? Now, most people run like weird numbers of this. I ran equal numbers of this because I want to see them equally. I would like to see my blocker on curve when I need to. And I would like to see my force impulse as a active attacker, right? You can't run that many blocking people, you know? You need to be able to forward aggress. And this is a free forward aggressive card. And this is a very good control tool. And then to finish this package off, the unsung hero of the night, Blast Gundam. It being a 3, oh my god, changed some stuff and locked out certain games. Like one of my last games, I played 2 of these while I had Elfrith and a Striker Pack token. Yes, spoiler alert, we play Striker Pack. It's one of the best white cards. Anyway, this card did so much work. Not only it being cheap and easy to summon, but having that 5 is so crazy. Because even if you rested with Grandpa, right? If you don't have somebody else to run into this, and you have to run into this with Grandpa, you're still dead. You're still dead. And this being able to crack base, come back, be a blocker, and crack base, monumental. I would not go up to 3 on this card. Because you have the recursion that we do in the deck, there's no need. Just 2 will do. And then our top end. So I went through a lot of different top ends. I played Justice. I played New Freedom. I played Old Freedom. I was even thinking about splashing just a random purple top end, and none of them worked. So we end up settling on the classic, right? If you can't beat them, join them. This card is still a problem for people, and it's just like in GDO 1, how we said, if you can't out this card cleanly, you're in trouble. Every turn that this card stays on the board, it creates more and more pressure. And then when you start pairing it's game over. So this definitely won me some games tonight. And then in the last monster slot, this also won me a game tonight. I had this already on the board. My opponent had 2 life, and I had 4 people on the board, including the New Freedom. All I did was play Minerva base, swing, suppression, good game. Even if it was a base in there, it was still a good game. So I like this ratio. I don't know what I'm going to change to fit Destiny when the deck when GDO 4 comes out, but for right now, this top end is good enough. It has definitely done its job. That's it for all the units. 28. Bases. Do not run anything but Minerva. Yes, you could probably get away with 1 Freedom. I mean, not Freedom, Archangel, right? With the blockers that we have. But you want to open this card. I opened 1 game with a Impulse, a base, a Overflowing Affection, and a Striker Pack. And I kept that hand. And won that game, obviously. Being able to set up the trash very early so you're not scrambling to do it later in the game is so important. It's so important that you should probably even ignore certain things in the beginning of the game just to make sure that your gameplay loop is done. Play around with the numbers if you want to, but I'm telling you, being able to start this and set up your trash, it's way more important than anything in the deck. Our pilots, the 2 coordinators themselves, Kira and Shin. Fun fact, I used Shin all night as a beat stick. Yes, I did link this with stuff all night, but I was so in the zone that I never restood a resource. Never. I didn't do it all night. I didn't even realize I didn't do it all night until the end of the night. And my teammate Kage asks, yeah, man, how does it feel having extra resources? And I said, what? And completely forgot that this card does that. So I definitely cheated myself. But even with that being said, some of those times I didn't have a reason to use the extra mana anyway, and I usually plan for perfect curve turns. So, yeah, imagine if I was on my real shit and was restanding, it probably would have created a whole nother level of play, which is hard to believe given the fact that I played how crazy I did tonight. But yes, this is the pairing. Fun fact, everything links in the deck with these guys. Literally everything except for the Elfrith. Every other card in the deck was picked because when I see my pilots, I want them to never be useless. And Elfrith is not useless, right? So very good blocker, and that's why we're barely getting a second copy of it in GDO4 in the form of another card, and we haven't had it since then, right? Since Ilfrith itself, because that card is very powerful. So that was the only card that I could really suffice not being able to link because it just created a barrier of problems by itself. But other than that, everything else in the deck is linkable by these 8 pilots. And because we're in white, you're going to know that we get to our pilots very fast. And even when we don't, since we're able to loop and block so much of the aggression coming from our opponent, we have time to look for our pilots. We have time. We don't need to rush. The only thing you need to rush to do is set up your trash. And last but not least, our commands. You don't run white without running this card. In 4s. You have to run this card in 4s. Don't run this at 3. Don't even think about a new sign. I thought about it. I tested it. I didn't like it. Also, don't laugh at me. I'm getting a 4th one. I can hear the comments now. Please don't do that. That's mean. Just like having an incomplete set is mean. And then next, the second best card in white for commands. Striker Pack. With so much rush going on in the format, I just thought that this was a good card to pick. A lot of people were running Rick Diaz. I don't like it because in certain matchups, you aren't scared about the token being destroyed. So you then have flexibility to summon the 2-4 or the 4-2. And there were plenty of times where I did that. Like in Wing, before they could summon 0, all I did was summon the 4-2 token. You're gonna get this work. If you go link up with Wing 0, right, Wing Gundam, and attack something, you can attack this 4-2. And that helped out a lot. And then every other matchup, I got to spawn the 2-4. And then whenever it came out of life, guess what? Most people thought they had game until they just had a 3-3 staring them in the face. So for that reason, I went with this over running something like Rick Diaz. It's more flexible. And surprise, you can't kill me when you don't account for it coming out of my life. The next very surprising card that I changed at the last minute, and I do mean the last minute. I mean like the night before. I just put in 2 giant killings. These were originally this card. They were unforeseens. And although unforeseen definitely came in handy a lot, I kept finding myself with one problem. If the trade didn't go in my favor and I still use this, what was the point of using it? And then a lot of people right now tend to see that you're in white and will strategically stay away from attacking your units and force you to use this on your aggression. And I felt like that card is more of a better use when it's a surprise. So since people have started to change their thought processes behind that, we also changed the card as well. So we went with Giant Killing, and I was able to use it offensively and defensively today. I killed someone standing adept when they thought they had more people on the board. I killed a bunch of things that people didn't think were going to die. One guy summoned a NT1 and then passed turn, and then on my turn, I Giant Killing it and then went for game. So yeah, and then last but not least, Hawk of Endymion. It came in handy a couple of times today. It definitely came in handy more of just being able to put under an L strike or, just an extra unit that needed that one. You'd be surprised. Sometimes you have a unit that's 4, right? Like our Sword Strike, and then put this under it. If you don't think they're running little creatures, don't worry about it then. Put this under Sword Strike. Who cares about the HP? It already has 2 HP. No one cares. But that 5 AP to bust that base was very great. Could it have been another pilot? Sure. But I'd rather it be this because you can always link it with Sword Strike, and then you can use it offensively or defensively, or you can put it in a unit to activate L Strike or to make your swords go from 4 to 5. So there were a lot of applications. I actually would not change anything in the list currently. We definitely have to change some stuff come GDL 4 with Destiny Gundam. But for right now, this is the list. I got the dub. I appreciate everybody that watches and supports me. Shout out to my team. Shout out to my locals. And thank you guys. Hope the list helps you. Take it to Louisiana. Show me something. Until next time, peace.